I am Brad Millican. I am the Assistant Service Manager here in the Chevrolet building, and I've been here 8 years. Typical day is extremely busy. I'm between one of many buildings checking on service because we're not all just right here, right? There's Quick Lube, there's Recon. So I do a lot. I do paperwork. Every day is different. Right? Every day is something different when you're in a position like this. You're always responding to something a customer needs, something a guest needs, or something an employee needs, so it's on my feet. The interaction with staff. I love the interaction that I have with my staff. It's like my second family. I mean, we all spend a lot of time here, obviously. And we have a lot of really awesome customers that I get to see sometimes on multiple occasions, and it's always great to see those people again, even if it's not great to see those people again for their car being in service. Family, honesty, and the best. The most unusual or interesting, probably the most interesting job I think that I've ever had, it'd be a split. So it'd be between working as a line chef at the country club was interesting, but also I worked for a time with Oakley and sold Oakley products and sunglasses, and that was, next to this, was the most fun job to date that I've had. The customers were amazing, and the product was amazing, and the people I worked with were just awesome. It was just awesome. I'm sure I have a lot. Many I'm sure I'm not even aware of. Probably the most common nickname is B Millie. Everybody calls me B Millie because my full last name is Millican, and it just comes out, I guess. So, yeah. Advice. Take the Domino seriously. That's probably my best piece of advice. When new hires start, they get a Domino, and the Domino has a lot to do with the way that we do everything here. Honesty, integrity. It's a lot about who we are, and at first I think sometimes they're like, oh, you know, that's an interesting, cool thing. But over time you really realize how deep and impactful the meaning behind the Domino is. The Domino is a simple item, but the story behind it's where it really shines. Always be humble and willing to take someone else's perspective. Always realize that there's usually two sides to the story, and there's somewhere in the middle lies the truth. And the third is probably I've learned to slow down. I've learned to slow down here and take it all in and make the best decision I can. I used to be very fast, hot-headed, and I've learned a lot here from my leadership. So I've grown up in two different trailer parks in my life. So that is something that most people don't realize about me, is I grew up very, I wouldn't say poor, but I would say I grew up in two trailer parks, and we did what we needed to do to survive and made it happen. Here I am now. I am extremely passionate about golf. That's one thing. Another thing, I cook all the time at home. I went to culinary school, learned how to cook as a chef. I played around in the industry for a while and eventually got out. And so I cook often at home. Lately, I've really, probably, I guess the third thing would be I've been recently into smoking meats. So now I'm sitting outside for 14, 15 hours a day in the middle of the summer cooking. Yeah, top 3 life highlights. So one's coming, we'll spoil on that one, the wedding. I'm getting married. That's a life highlight. 2, I got to go to the Skip Barber racing program for 3 days and race Mustangs around a racetrack, and that was awesome. They taught us how to push it straight to the edge, and that was neat. And then also I got to take my mom on a 50th birthday trip, a late 50th birthday trip to Las Vegas, and she's never had a vacation in her life. So that was so awesome. I loved that. tickets to the Masters. I would love to go see the Masters in person, be a patron, and watch even a Sunday round. I would, at this point, I'd take a Wednesday practice round, but just to be there as a golfer, someone who loves golf, you know, that's a coveted place already, but that to me is just the ultimate. So. Oh, the best book I've ever read has been Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. That book is changing. It's a leadership book, actually. I never thought I'd say. I'm mostly into fiction books, and I never thought a book I would read, my favorite book, would be a self-betterment, book like that, but it is. So probably either the first concert I ever went to, which was Green Day, or the last one we just went to was really amazing. I went and saw, who was it? It was a multitude of people, but it was Panic at the Disco and a multitude of groups together. So that's kind of my scene, was punk rock, alternative rock, as I grew up with the 90s music, right? Late 90s, early 2000s was my jam. Besides always looking like I'm 16, probably the hardest challenge was just the area in which we grew up, right? We didn't grow up rich. We didn't grow up with everything. We had to, mom's saying was, if you keep it nice, you'll keep it. And there's an old tube TV at the house that's as deep as it is wide, and it's probably 50 pounds. And I remember as a kid carrying that thing to friends' houses to play video games, and I barely got it through the doors of the back of my Cobalt. And it was just, it's heavy, but it looks new. And people still come and they ask me, they're like, oh my God, that's like brand new. And I'm like, it's not. It's from my childhood. Ooh, favorite movie, that's an easy one. The Greatest Game Ever Played with Shia LaBeouf. Oh, that is my favorite movie of all time. So good. And it's golf, so I mean, it's got a leg up already. Probably bibimbap in Novi, and they have a beef bibimbap bowl that is good ingredients. It comes out absolutely amazing, fresh. I love food, obviously going to culinary school, and so I like all different types of food. My favorite type of food is Mediterranean, but that is my favorite restaurant as of right now. When I'm happiest, probably also the same time when I'm most angry, is when I'm on the golf course. I love being on the golf course. I can go out and play around by myself, completely alone. I can go out and play with friends. It's the place that brings me the most freedom and ability to not think about anything, but it's also the place where sometimes I get the most mental done. I guess I try not to make that one about golf, because there's a bunch of the golf moments in the world that I would want to see. But I think probably the one thing I would love to see is, well, I guess we'll make it golf. Tiger Woods winning the 19 Masters when he had the big comeback. Seeing that on that final green would have been just unbelievable. So, my personal mantra always growing up, seeing how my mom worked, was always about, never saying it's not my job. That's really the secret to my success. There's nothing, reaching this position, there's been nothing that's set me apart physically, mentally. There's nothing that I do that's just amazing. It's just the idea that if I don't say no and I don't stop and don't give up, that no matter what, you'll get there, So I just never say, it's not my job. It doesn't matter if it's sweeping the corner of the parts or special tool room all the way to giving a presentation in the upstairs offices. It's all worth doing. Early on, so when my mom had me, she was a single parent, and my grandfather helped out getting me to school at times. But I like to tell folks, she gave everything up to be a mom, right? And this was back when you put everything aside. She would work all day long from, 8, 9 in the morning all the way until 1 or 2 in the morning. So she'd work all afternoon. And she'd get out of work at like 3 o'clock and come pick me up from my grandfather's house, and I'm asleep on the couch, and she'd take me home and put me to bed. And then 3 hours later, she'd wake up and get me up for school and take me to where the bus picks me up at my grandfather's for school of choice. and go back home, get a couple more hours of sleep, get back up, get ready for work, go back to work. And that was her schedule. That was the thing that she did. And it always blew my mind because she worked so tirelessly just to provide. Like in our little apartment, we had just enough, right? Just a TV and a couch, and then I had my little table that I could eat at for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever I wanted, right? I had all the foods I wanted to eat. I had everything I needed. I had some toys and stuff too, and friends when I was growing up, and she made sure I had everything. So at the sacrifice of her own stuff. So that's something most people don't know. All right, so my family is small, extremely small. So growing up, it was just myself and my mom. And then as time went on, it was myself, my mom, and my grandfather. And so I have a very small family. And my family's growing now. I've recently become engaged to my beautiful fiance. And so we're excited about our wedding that's coming in June. But my family started super small. My mom worked 5-6 days a week to support her only child, and that's probably where I get a lot of my drive from, is because she was incredible. So we didn't have much, but we had enough.